Salesperson in L'Artisan Parfumeur told us that they were not sure how successful this collection will be, but it turned out to be selling like hot pies. Hello dear perfume lovers, in this video I have something really interesting to talk about. I got the full Le Potager collection from L'Artisan Parfumeur. Vegetable garden. Each scent has a certain vegetable note that it is built around. The fragrances are really interesting, very unusual, but also excellent, beautiful scents. The collection was released in 2022 and I believe pandemic has something to do with it, because how many of us started our own vegetal gardens, balcony gardens in 2021? So let's begin tasting it. First fragrance I'm going to be trying is CÉDRAT CÉRUSE. CÉDRAT Fennel Pink Pepper. This is one of my favorites from the collection. It's really wearable and very refreshing scent. You can recognize the note of fennel that resembles anise quite a lot. And together with the citrusy and spicy notes, this fragrance is such a good choice for the start of the day for men and women. All of those fragrances are unisex, they can be worn by any gender. This fragrance is not too earthy in comparison to following fragrances. It's more like a freshie, but done in such unique and such enjoyable way. I love this subtle sweetness from anise in this fragrance. It gives me this boost of good mood and creativity. You know, gardening is such a creative hobby. Yeah, this fragrance kind of puts me in resourceful, creative state of mind. The fragrance really smells like fennel skin, and you know, fennel is a very funny, extravagant veggie, and so is this fragrance. It's very, very unusual. Anyway, it's a very delicious smelling fragrance, and I think it can be a nice candidate for my collection. It lasts moderately, it doesn't project a lot, but it brings a lot of joy and good mood. I can highly recommend this fragrance, CÉDRAT CÉRUSE. It's one of my favorites. It is funny how the house doesn't put vegetable in the name of the scent, but instead hide it behind more conventional note in the name. So the next fragrance is called Is de Gris. Is de Gris. It makes it even more surprising to discover the vegetable note in a fragrance. Galbanum, iris and piacord. Besides, I get some bergamot and some musky notes. This is my husband's favorite. Here we have a little bit more earthy situation. It's green, but it's not fresh. It has a bit of powdery feel in it and a bit of aquatic maybe. Yeah, maybe something aquatic even. But again, it's very realistic scent of one particular plant. It has texture. It resembles those shaggy leaves and stems of the green pea plant. Yeah, it's not the scent of peas themselves, but rather a plant from the garden with a bit of earthy undertones. It feels a bit less wearable for me because it does smell very veggie. But I think in a layering combination with something floral or something woody, it can be very interesting. Okay, honestly, it's not my most favorite. I prefer fennel fragrance quite a lot more. But this one I find somewhat comforting. You know, I want to spray it in the sleeves of my sweater and just walk and smell it and feel myself in a garden. If you're not afraid of earthy scents, this can be such a nice choice for autumn. It's very elegant. It has the note of iris quite prominent, and iris brings a little bit of melancholy in a fragrance. But it also smells very natural. It's not my #1 pick, but still it's very enjoyable. In the end of the video, I'm gonna rate the fragrances to illustrate better my opinion about them. Those two fragrances and following two are done by the same perfumer. Guess who? Quentin Biche, the superstar of contemporary perfumery. He made Delina,
He made Fleur he made Ganymede and many other fragrances. Check who is the perfumer of your favorite fragrance. It might as well be Content Biche. Let's move on to Vétiver Ecarlate. Grapefruit, tomato leaf accord, Vétiver. This one brings me to the garden immediately. It's so prominent and it's so like mouth-watering scent. It's very foodie in a good way. There's a sparkling grapefruit in the beginning and then the tomato leaf accord, which is again so realistically done, such a successful attempt to recreate the tomato leaf scent. It smells a bit salty and spicy. Imagine the glass of tomato juice with a bit of seasoning. It's very like refreshing and very foodie. I don't know, you want to drink this fragrance. In my family, when we serve fresh cut tomatoes, we usually put a bit of salt on top, and that resembles this feeling of salty tomato. Tomato leaf accord is not new in perfumery, it's quite well explored. Sisley has a fragrance called Eau de Campagne. It has a tomato leaf accord and very beautiful one, a bit more green, beautiful fragrance. When I first tried Eau de Campagne, I was like so impressed how interesting the fragrance can be, but this one I think it's even better. So yeah, Vétiver Ecarlate is very bright, very refreshing scent, and it's really yummy. Can we call it a gourmand fragrance? It's a good question how to classify those fragrances. Are they gourmands or are they green fragrances? Because you see, fruits, they do have their own category, fruity fragrances. And I think that the vegetal scents, if they continue to emerge, they will take their own niche of beautiful vegetal scents in perfumery. Tomato fragrance is very nice. I like it. Let's move on to Musk Amarante. Ambrette, beetroot accord, and musk. Okay, it's very earthy scent. I get those essential musks and ambrette notes. It's not as intense as you may think. Just imagine the glass of beetroot juice. It's somewhat watery. But again, it's a very successful attempt to recreate the beetroot scent. I really get it. I understand why creators combine the beetroot, this earthy, dirty note, with some soft and feminine like musks and ambrette. I think it comes from the nature of beetroot. It's such a comforting veggie. It's so filling, it's not too watery. It has this like dark purple color, and it's an attribute of autumn kitchen, very comforting kitchen. And I think this perfume reflects this coziness of the beetroot. It's not something I would wear on a daily basis, but just like the iris fragrance, I would spray it in my sleeve and just imagine myself in a garden. So it's very earthy, soft, it's slightly sweet unisex fragrance that I think can be very interesting on a man. This combination of dirty, earthy notes of beetroot together with some soft musk and ambrette, skin-like notes, it makes it so unique. My husband was wearing this one and it smells pretty good on him. He called himself Monsieur Betterave. Not my most favorite, but very interesting fragrance. Let's move on to our last fragrance, TONKA BLANC. Cauliflower, mandarin, tonka beans. This fragrance is done by another perfumer, Alexandre Carlin, and it stands out in a way that it is the least vegetal from the collection, but still it's a very beautiful scent and one of my favorites from the collection. I don't get any cauliflower here, but I find the scent very elegant and very feminine. I get some sweet citrusy notes together with tonka beans, but also something possibly musky or powdery.
something floral. It also reminds me the smell of dates somehow. It has this a little bit sweet dessert-like feel with some maybe even almond facets. It's very cocooning fragrance. Like, it smells a bit like perfumed body cream. In my opinion, it doesn't fully belong to Le Potager collection, but still I find it so pleasant, so elegant. I can imagine something like this in a Dior boutique line, for example. I really love it. The tonka beans here, they're so soft. Quite often I find the tonka bean note a little bit bitter, but here it's just so rounded and so beautiful. Like, really good stuff. For a real perfume lover, I think this collection is a must-try because those fragrances are so unique and so groundbreaking. I really hope this vegetal scent and perfumery will continue to evolve because I love to use scent to influence my emotions, to put me in a certain mood. And for me as a city tenant, sometimes I'm really craving those natural smelling vegetal plant-like scents. I think we need more of this, please. I have done a few more videos about L'Artisan Parfumeur fragrances. I'm becoming a big fan of this brand. But what makes me sad is that L'Artisan Parfumeur doesn't ship to Finland. I cannot even get samples of those fragrances. This collection I got in the boutique. My other samples I needed to order to my husband's mom home, and then she brought them when she visited Finland. So complicated. Dear L'Artisan Parfumeur, please ship to Finland. Finland is Europe, it's not that far. And so, conclusions. For CÉDRAT CÉRUSE, the fennel fragrance, I would give 9 on 10. I really enjoyed. Tonka Blanc deserves 8.5 on 10. It's really beautiful, very nice fragrance. VÉTIVER ECARLATE, I think I'm gonna give 8 on 10 because it's the best tomato fragrance I've discovered so far. Sweet pea fragrance, Is.Ekaterina, I think I'm gonna give it 7.5 on 10. It's not the most wearable fragrance in my opinion. And also MUSC AMARANTE will receive 7.5 on 10. Don't worry for the vegetable participants of this video, they will be eaten for lunch. So that is it for today's video. I hope you found it useful, interesting, and I wish you a very good day. P.S. I got this lovely bouquet of flowers that still looks fresh and summery with white roses, but as well has deeper shades of green and brown from seeded eucalyptus, colors transitioning to autumn. I just love this green cloud with gentle roses.